That I haven't seen yet. Oh, you're so woke, at least you think you are. You're microdosing acid in your new electric car. You're microdosing acid, you're just picking at the star. You should probably tell the stranger everything you have to say. Appropriate some culture, learn to shut your mouth. You're playing with these Yankees, but you're from the dirty South. You're playing with these Yankees, but you're from the dirty South. Oh, 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 now trigger. Oh, 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 down good boy. Oh, 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 now trigger. You are not a child, this man is not a toy. You are not a child and this man is not a toy. That I haven't seen yet. Oh, you're so woke, at least you think you are. You're microdosing acid in your new electric car. You're microdosing acid, you're just picking at the star. You should probably tell the stranger everything you have to say. Appropriate some culture, learn to shut your mouth. You're playing with these Yankees, but you're from the dirty South. You're playing with these Yankees, but you're from the dirty South. Oh, 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 now trigger. Oh, 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 down good boy. Oh, 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 now trigger. You are not a child, this man is not a toy. You are not a child and this man is not a toy. visions that I haven't seen yet. Oh, you're so woke, at least you think you are. You're microdosing acid in your new electric car. You're microdosing acid, you're just picking at the star. You should probably tell the stranger everything you have to say. Appropriate some culture, learn to shut your mouth. You're playing with these Yankees, but you're from the dirty South. You're playing with these Yankees, but you're from the dirty South. Oh, 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 now trigger. Oh, 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 down good boy. Oh, 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 now trigger. You are not a child, this man is not a toy. You are not a child and this man is not a toy. That I haven't seen yet. Oh, you're so woke, at least you think you are. You're microdosing acid in your new electric car. You're microdosing acid, you're just picking at the star. You should probably tell the stranger everything you have to say. Appropriate some culture, learn to shut your mouth. You're playing with these Yankees, but you're from the dirty South. You're playing with these Yankees, but you're from the dirty South. Oh, 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 now trigger. Oh, 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 down good boy. Oh, 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 now trigger. You are not a child, this man is not a toy. You are not a child and this man
bit of pant chat. After this bit, look at that. There's a bit of pant chat right there. Oh, yeah.
But guys, follow us on all the social media. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Francis J. Foster, Konstantin Kisin, Trigger Pod. Follow us all.
Anton, kill it already.
Come on, follow us.
Hello, you beautiful bigots, and welcome to the first Raw of the week. Have we got a show for you? We're going to talk about the football. We're going to talk about the football and racism. We're going to talk about, what else are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about racism in football.
And football in racism.
Yeah, and racist footballs.
And football racism.
And football racists.
Yeah.
We're going to also talk about a comedian getting cancelled.
Because of racism.
Because of racism.
And football.
And football.
So we're also going to talk about your boys, aren't we, Francis?
Yeah, we're going to talk about los cubanos.
Ah.
Viva Cuba.
Yeah,
Viva la revolución. Actually, wrong one. I was meant to say that. Anyway, you know what I mean.
Right.
Well, it is a revolution. It's a revolution against a revolution.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's all very interesting.
They've become very right-wing in Cuba all of a sudden.
Oh, yeah. They've been very all right, mate. They want something like freedom of speech.
Well, no, they're not going to get that, but they want food as well.
Oh, yeah, they do want
That's
food.
pretty right-wing.
That is right-wing. What, you want to eat?
Yeah.
You sad little bigot.
Exactly.
What a little cuck you are.
Why do you hate black people?
Exactly. Embrace diversity and enjoy your
diversity of the lack of food.
Yeah, enjoy diversity and a puddle of muddy water. Excellent.
Anyway, let's start by acknowledging the fact that England got to the final.
Yes, great times.
Yeah, we happy about that?
I'm very happy that England got to the final. I thought they did superbly well. I thought they played really well.
Yeah.
Player of the tournament for me, I thought Raheem
Sterling, I agree. I thought Raheem Sterling was definitely the best player for England throughout the tournament.
In the final, I would argue it was Pickford, but
Pickford did very well. Kane also did well.
Yeah, but overall, I think you have to say player of the tournament, Raheem Sterling, for me, for England anyway.
What about racist of the tournament?
Racist of the tournament. Well,
unofficially, they didn't do an official one.
They should have done.
Yeah, they should have done.
They should have done. They should have done a racist of the tournament. I don't know who would have been. What about your boys?
My boys?
Yeah.
Well, no, come on, mate. I'm not saying Russians can't do it, but we haven't we've not been performing at the top level for some time. What you want is like Serbian.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing like a good old-fashioned Serbian racism.
Mate. Yeah, absolutely.
Just a simple, God's honest.
Banana straight on the pitch, no fucking about.
There's none of this, like, undercover, like, what I mean?
Where you really from?
Yeah, where you really from?
No, it's banana
None of that.
straight
Yeah,
in.
mate, it's all Nazi salutes.
Yeah.
Swastika tattoos on eyeballs.
Yeah, exactly.
And Hungary as well.
Hungary, yeah, they're fans as well.
Yeah.
So, So first of all, let's talk about the football, Francis.
Right. Let's talk about
because Anton and I while you were away on the Saturday night, right? You popped off after the Raw. Anton and I were here.
Were you talking about how much you missed me?
And
Tony was. I know he was.
I became Boris Johnson there for a second.
I just think
begging. No, we weren't talking about that. I was saying how wonderful it would be if England were to win, and for like a week we could have like none of this shit about how racist everything is and how divided we all are and how everyone hates everyone and how these people are evil and these people are good. And I just thought for a week, after a year and a half of this fucking nonsense and 4 years before that, we could just enjoy the fact that we're a country, that we're together, that we've done something good. Yeah. That's what Anton and I were talking about.
And the fact
that is how it's worked out for us, isn't it?
It is. We're more happy than ever.
Yeah.
We're more solid. We've shown more solidarity than ever before. And it's just been great. It's been absolutely great. And look, before we go any further, let's call it out. Those people, a small minority of absolute morons who were, hurling abuse, saying racist things on Twitter and Instagram are scum. Let's just say it. Let's just say what it is. You're scum.
Or just Serbian.
Yeah, or just Serbian.
We don't know.
Or Hungarian.
Or Russian.
Or Chinese. Yeah.
No, there could be Russian bots. And if you're a Russian bot and you're watching this, you're fucking scum.
Unless you've got great tits, in which case, show me the money. However.
Well, show me the tits, surely.
Yeah. Well, that's the saying, Do you know, right? I found out the other day.
How is that the saying?
No.
You walk up to a woman with big tits and you go, show me the money.
Yeah, it does.
No. You're confusing women with big tits with Jews like me.
No. Because what it is, right, is women like it when you allude to things, right? So if you say, just show me your big tits, that's quite cross. But you go, show me the money, it's charming.
Yeah, it's charming.
It's charming because you're alluding to something. It's not overt, and birds love it. So there we go, mate.
Okay, fantastic. Well, as long as birds love it. Anyway, obviously, people sending racist messages to anyone are absolute scum and completely to be condemned. But we will actually talk about this later on. Let's talk about the football first and foremost.
Okay.
Right? So I predicted before the game that if England scored early, that was their only chance of victory. I was right on that.
Yep.
Right. England did very well.
Yep.
Got to the penalties. Right. And then, I mean, how would we describe it, Francis?
I would say Southgate made a tactical error.
Yeah.
Not in bringing Marcus Rashford on, because Marcus Rashford is actually a penalty expert, dead ball expert. He takes the pens for Man United on the whole. So that wasn't an error. The errors for me, were putting on two young, very inexperienced boys to take the penultimate and the final penalty. In particular, getting a young boy of 19 years old to take the final, it's too much for somebody of that age. And you could see it, but with the end scenes where he missed, and he was absolutely inconsolable. And your heart went out to him.
But also, he's never taken a professional penalty in his life.
I didn't realise that, hasn't he?
No.
Oh,
no,
wow.
he hasn't. And bringing a 21-year-old, 19-year-old just didn't make any sense. So I'm going to say, here's my opinion on it, and then we'll move on from the football itself.
You know, you need my opinion, mate.
I know people don't like this, and I think, look, whenever a team fails, everyone should take their share of the responsibility, because you can blame the missing of the penalties.
Can you blame the Jews?
You can.
Yeah, I can. Great.
Go on, blame the Jews.
Well, I've got. Once the Guardian appoint me as chief editor, then I'll be able to do it.
No, absolutely. So that's coming shortly. But before you start blaming the Jews, you can blame anyone you want. You can say, well, they missed the penalties, and it's true. But why were England 1-1 at that point? Why didn't they come out in the second half and do better? Why didn't they create more chances? Why, etc., etc. But if there's one person that you could say does take a particular responsibility, is Gareth Southgate, the manager, right? And in my opinion, he let the pressure of the big game get to him, and he made inexplicable decisions in those penalty takers. And apparently, as Anton told us, Jordan Pickford was scheduled to be number 6 on the penalty takers list, which again makes very little sense. So anyway,
I think, look, England fell at the final hurdle. Italy, just about deserved it more, I would say. And, and that was the result. I just think it's quite sad that what has been a fantastic tournament for England has now been overshadowed because of everything that's happened, because of the behaviour of a few morons.
Absolutely. And the reality is England overachieved.
Yeah.
I mean, people will maybe not like me saying this, but that's a fact. Right.
Yeah.
Who expected England to get to the final and to be within a kick? Anton's got his mic.
Oh, Anton.
Here we go. He's Oh, you're just adjusting mic.
He's turning down the volume.
He's saying no audio. Someone is saying that. I don't think that's true, though. But anyway, so who would have said that England are going to be within a kick away of winning the Euros at the beginning of the tournament? Nobody. England did brilliantly with a really young team that will kick on and at the non-racist World Cup in Qatar, because there'll definitely not be any racism there.
Oh, yeah.
Because all the racists will be, they'll have their hands amputated and tongues.
Oh, yeah, and also as well, really looking forward to Harry Kane wearing a rainbow flag on his captain band in Qatar, because that's definitely going to happen. Yeah.
Imagine the religious police just run onto the pitch and chop Harry Kane's arm off.
Well, yeah. Well, at that point, that's where we get the Millwall fans to then hit him around the head with a chair while screaming the words, "I'm Millwall, you cunt." Yeah.
So we look forward to that. But in the meantime, they've done really well. Congratulations to England. They've done really, really well. Why the acrimony, I really don't understand about the football, first of all.
Yeah.
Now, we can move on.
Yeah, and we will do.
After the game, apparently at the moment, Twitter have taken down 1,000 tweets, which, just to put it in context, I think 6,000 tweets get tweeted every minute, or maybe even every second.
And that's only from your account. Man.
That's only from my account, right? So very small minority. Gareth Southgate, Anton, pull this up. There was a press conference that I sent on Twitter. If you go to about 5 minutes in, he talks about the fact that most of these accounts that sent these messages were actually from abroad, according to
Russia.
Could be. There we go. So it's 5:15. Oh, there you go. You've got it there. It was on 5:09.
Lovely bit of buffering there, by the way.
Yeah, that's what we want. You might need to refresh it, Anton.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Underway.
Let's see. We're going to do it again. Here we go. Look at
what they've done.
Listen to from here.
For some of them to be abused is unforgivable, really. I know a lot of that has come from abroad. You know, the people that track those things have been able to explain that, but not all of it. And it's just not what we stand for.
All right. So a lot of these messages are coming from abroad. A small minority would have been coming from the UK. It's obviously completely wrong. And I don't understand why anybody would go on Instagram. That's it.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why anybody would go on Instagram, hurl abuse at these young boys when you could be on Instagram looking at great arses. That's what the platform's here for. That's what it's designed for, is for you to look at cracking arses. And the fact that you don't do that and you go and send racial abuse, to me, makes it even worse.
Yeah. But anyway, obviously people sending racist abuse is completely wrong, but I think we should very much keep it in context. People are going absolutely batshit crazy about it.
And look, we're missing, obviously there was the defacing of the mural of Marcus Rashford.
Oh, yeah.
Which, you know, was a racist symbol, which, let's be fair, I think everyone knows that means a swastika, which is obviously vile. And, you know, and the fact that that happened is, of course, awful. And that, you know, but the fact that we're being told now that we are it's a racist nation, I find very, very difficult to comprehend, if I'm being honest.
Well, the problem here is technological, really, isn't it? Social media amplifies the visibility of all these things. And it's interesting, given that in the game itself, a very interesting parallel happened. There was a streaker who ran onto the pitch. And most people won't even remember that, because what happened was the moment they ran onto the pitch, the commentators made some kind of lame reference to, oh, there's another idiot on here. The cameras were on the players, on the fans, etc.
He did have a tiny winky, though.
I'm sure he did.
Apparently he did, tiny.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't like to be in that situation, to be honest. But anyway, that's why I'm not a streaker. So he ran on, he got removed, didn't get any coverage, didn't get newspaper articles about how outrageous it is. And that is largely how you should be dealing with these things. And by the way, social media companies just need to create a way for people to filter out content from anonymous accounts, for example. If you're a celebrity or you've got hundreds of thousands of followers, you should just be able to press a switch that means that accounts that aren't verified in some way, or that don't have a profile picture, or that don't look like a name or whatever, you don't get those notifications. And that's the way, to me, to deal with it. So the fact that this has now been made into how Britain is grotesquely racist, and some people was even suggesting that Britain shouldn't ever host a major tournament until this is sorted out. What, after there's a World Cup in Russia and then in Qatar?
Great nations.
Great nations for many things. Racial tolerance probably not one of them.
No, they don't, and they don't like gays, do they?
Not a fan. Not
a fan of the old gays.
Us, we love gays.
Well, we do. We've got loads of gay fans, and we love them, and they're great.
We're massive fans of the gay community.
We are. God bless you, each and every single one of you. But there is something that I wanted to talk about as well, which is, and everybody's going to want us to talk about it, which is a former guest we had on the show.
We will talk about him, but before all the super chats and the messages run away from us, let's just catch up on what the bigots in the chat are saying. Lorcan has sent us 15 quid on PayPal, says, great work as always, fellas. I'm depressed. The Irish government is ramming legislation through the Irish Parliament this week to bring digital COVID passports for indoor dining. What's more, the vast majority of Irish people want this and are in support of it. I've never been more ashamed of the mingy little slags that populate this island. Can we get some shamrocks and hammers and sickles in the chat to celebrate our hatred of freedom in Ireland, says Lorcan. Lorcan, thank you very much. Andrew, with a tenor, says, from Ashalone.
That's Ireland as well, isn't it?
Good evening, bigots, bigotresses, and plurals. You continue to exceed expectations with your interviews and roars. Can't wait to see you in person in October. Please don't use full name. Thanks. We did not. Andrew Black. Tyler, with the 250, says, what's worse, Andrew McDonald being cancelled?
Who's Andrew McDonald?
Who's Andrew McDonald? I think he means Andrew Lawrence.
Yeah.
But he's been so cancelled, you can't even use his surname.
Either that, mate, or you need to sort out your eating habits because you got junk food on the brain.
And he says, for being cancelled for telling a racist joke that wasn't racist, or mincy little slags, otherwise known as left-wing commentator, joyfully celebrating his cancellation and saying that he deserves never to work again. We'll talk about this in a second, Tyler. He says also that many of the people who cancelled him proudly display the I voted Labour avatar after voting for a racist party. It's got a good point there, I suppose. Yeah. Although we will talk about it, and I think you will find that our views on it are fairly nuanced. What else we got? Mahala sent us 3 quid. Says Patrick Moore was amazing, gave no fucks and took no prisoners. Went in on David Attenborough and it talked about Greenpeace at Davos. It was too much. Yeah, some people loved that interview, Mahala. Some people hated it. It's classic trigonometry. She also says, what I didn't like is the footballers trying to blame Patel, who has had racist abuse herself from the left. I would never take the knee. I am black. Am I racist? Of course you are.
Of course you are, princess. Right, of course you are. Don't worry your pretty little head about it.
Pretty little, racist head about it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about that issue a little bit more. Anton, let's do some super chats before we lose them all.
Jay Kurtz, as FF would say, now that the deadwood has been cut out, life can get back to normal. Enjoy a pizza. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate it, mate. Losers for 245 years. Missed a big game. How did it turn out? We won, mate. Delighted. Next. Ogrods. I loved Dr. Eco Grossball's opening shot. Great to be with you, Konstantin, and Francis.
Actually, he didn't even say that. He just said, great to be with you, Konstantin, and then just waited. And I had to bring Francis in. Well, should we talk about Dr. Greenballen?
The Greenballen, yeah.
Dr. Greenballen.
Well, what did you think? We knew the moment that we recorded that how problematic it would be. It's challenging. He goes in, doesn't give a fuck, a bit like Jorginho, studs up, smashes it in on the knee.
It's a great tackle.
Right. Didn't get a red, even though he deserved
Got
it.
the ball.
Right. So it was one of our better ones, I think. What do you think?
I enjoyed it. Now, obviously, a lot of people will find it controversial, but that is what we do. We talk to different people. We'll talk to all sorts of people about this issue going forward, because I do believe the issue of the climate debate is going to get bigger and bigger. Ogrods, thank you very much for the super chat.
Next, bloody skies. Cellini for shirt pull is racist of the tournament.
Why are people saying it's a red, by the way?
It's not red.
It's not red.
It's a yellow.
Yeah, it's absolutely yellow. Well done, Chiellini.
Herbizoid, mixed feelings about the Patrick Moore interview. Half the time he sounds like a flat earther, even when I agree with many of his points.
Maybe you're a flat earther. Have you thought of that, Herbizoid?
Yeah, look at that. Yeah, maybe you're the... Anyway, thanks, Herbizoid.
Anyway, Patrick Moore raised my awareness of gizzards 100%, so I'm happy about that.
Michael Wilcox, regarding David Atherton, 96% of abuse from outside UK.
Yeah, someone else said that according to Channel 4, only 4% of it came from within the UK.
Yeah.
So, obviously to be condemned wherever it comes from, but I don't think we should overestimate the amount of racism in this country, which is probably the most tolerant country in the history of the world.
Apart from Qatar, which is obviously where the next tournament's going to be.
True. Correct.
Dave Green, scrawling, shooting a bucket bastard on the mural of a man who missed a penalty is not cool. But is it racist?
I didn't know what was scrolled on it. Are we sure that's what happened?
Well, in the news...
I mean, that's spelling. I mean, I think you should be in prison just for the spelling alone.
I mean, yeah.
That is a fucking hate crime.
Yeah, it is. And as a former teacher, I think he should have his nuts cut off and hung by his toes. However, when I was on GB News yesterday, they said that it was because of a racist symbol.
So it might have been like a swastika.
Yeah, well, that's what I think a racist symbol
is. Not Nazis, the nationalists.
Exactly.
Fucking idiots.
Next. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, Dave.
Henshini0101. Mainstream and social media seems to think that the England fans are the only country with racist supporters. Selective woke bias. Maybe. Well, of course. There's plenty of racist football fans. We've seen them many times when England go and play in those countries. I mean, Serbia, like we said, do not give a fuck.
Top lads.
I mean, it's almost refreshing how little they give a fuck. As in, they just stand there doing a Nazi salute. People go, are you Nazis? And they go, yes, we are. No nationalist bollocks. None of this, yes, well, maybe, are they? No, just full on, I'm a Nazi. Which somebody's probably going to clip. Yeah. But, the England fans are by no means the worst or most racist fans in society.
I mean, I will say this, and I think you'll back me up on this. As someone who used to go to football games, at some games, in some situations, the atmosphere is absolutely fucking vile.
Yeah,
there's no question about that.
And I mean, that's just Anton.
Not entirely untrue, but you know what I mean. Like, there is a very aggressive and very unpleasant atmosphere sometimes in certain corners of certain supporters of certain clubs. I've experienced it going to games here in London. So the fact that they're then going out and attacking people and, you know, smashing shops and whatever, I don't like that, and I don't agree with it. But that is true of most countries, and it's an unpleasant thing, but it is what it is. And like Anton said, maybe we should just ban football.
Yeah, absolutely. Or more importantly, ban Everton.
Andy P in the chat says Everton fans are animals.
Anton, if we banned Everton, how much happier would you be?
I'd be gone.
What do you mean you'd be gone?
I'd launch myself off the planet.
Well, good. So we've got our producer to basically say he's going to kill himself live on air. That's great.
Yeah.
Well done.
Banter.
Top level bants.
It's what you came here for, guys. James, Italy deserved it just. England only had one shot on target apart from the goal. But even so, to get an unbeaten since Italy, 2018 Italy side, depends an achievement in itself. Bright future for England.
Agreed.
Quite.
That is the attitude that we should have. Thanks, James.
Frankly, some highly problematic Euro from a German bigot.
Some highly problematic... Anton, come on. Some highly problematic Euros from a German bigot, yeah. Thank you, Frankie.
Next. Hugh James. Get Charles Murray on. A relation to Dougie Murray.
Charles Murray is the writer of a number of books about race and IQ, which are pretty spicy. He is a mainstream scientist, though. He had Coleman Hughes had him on the show recently, and it was an interesting conversation, but it is very, very spicy. Thanks, Hugh.
Next. Chris G. Hello, you beautiful bottom feeders.
A reference to Patrick Moore calling to David Attenborough bottom feeder.
Great interview with the Canadian bigot. Thanks, Chris G. Next. Mr. Turnips. The attitude of my fellow Scots disgusts me. There's an attitude supporting anyone but England. Commiserations, England. Better luck next time.
Well, Mr. Turnips, I do agree with you. First of all, Scots disgust me as well. Joke. Now, I actually lived in Scotland for many years, and many Scottish people are not fans of supporting England in any way, shape, or form. In fact, Francis, I think I've told the story before, but do you know who is Scotland's most loved footballing hero?
Diego Maradona.
Diego Maradona. Do you know why?
Because of the handball.
Yeah, because he cheated to beat England. Not just because he beat England, but because he cheated. So there's a lot of people in Scotland who are not fans of To me, that's friendly banter, if I'm honest. I have no problem with it.
There we go. To me, it's just jealousy. Next. Lisa Clapham. Mind-blowing Patrick Moore interview. Lots of bird talk. Birds love it. Of course they do. Can't help yourself.
Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Lisa, rather.
Pirate Tomsky. Woke played this one perfectly. England win, and it's all down to diversity and inclusion. England lose, and they've managed to make it all about racism.
Well, this is something we'll talk about when we get finally round to Andrew Lawrence in a second. So let's get through the rest of the super chats, Anton, and we'll get to it.
Julio Anicini.
Giulio Anicini, Italian British here, but speaks with an accent like this still. Says both teams were great, amazing tournament and great games. Supporters can be beasts everywhere. See you next year in Qatar.
Lovely.
Julio, I believe that is your first super chat, so thank you very much. We really appreciate you, mingy little slag.
Thank you. No, stop being racist. You mingy little slagini.
Correct. Slagini would actually be plural.
Really?
So it would be mingy little slagio.
Slagio. Right, fabulous. Next.
That is it. So, Francis, one of the other things that happened, so these racist messages were coming out, and at the same time, let's say that there were a couple of people who really didn't cover themselves in glory, did they? There was a lot of people, not going to name names, but I was not a fan of going, well, if only Marcus Rashford wasn't busy campaigning to feed kids, maybe then he would have got his penalty. Well, that's not really how it works, I don't think.
No,
I really don't think these two things are related for a start. Right?
No.
It's just people being dicks because somebody had failed publicly and they wanted to use that to beat as a stick to beat them with.
And there was another person who came out and went, oh, they're one little babies taking off their medals when they got presented with a runners-up medal. And you know what? Tony, you made a good point about this, right? Basically saying that actually a lot of these people commentating have never really seen football before. It is in every football final, the losers never keep their medals on because it almost at that point feels like an insult.
Yeah.
You've come all that way. You've worked so hard. Why are you going to treasure your loser's medal?
Yeah. And you've got to remember, these are hyper competitive. These are probably the most competitive athletes, some of the most competitive athletes in the world. They're young men. They're not going to be happy with second place. So it's no reflection of anything else. They're just not happy to have lost. And that's what they're saying. I don't think you need to go after them for that. Look, there was a lot of anger going around for all sorts of reasons, mainly because England lost, right? And I understand that. But you shouldn't make this shit up just to be upset about on behalf of some stupid cause. But anyway, Andrew Lawrence Francis came out.
Yeah.
And how are we going to do this? Are we just going to say what he said?
Yeah.
And then we'll break it down.
Okay. So Andrew Lawrence, what did he say?
He said, so he first tweeted so what happened in the penalty shootout, for those of you who weren't watching or who don't know anything about football, basically England had 5 players take a penalty. Harry Maguire and Harry
Kane.
Harry Kane. They both scored.
Both of those players are white.
Yeah. And the other players, which is Marcus Rashford, Jordan Sancho, and it
was Marcus Rashford, Jadon Sancho, Bukayo Saka.
Yeah, they missed, and they're all black. And Andrew said that I'm just saying the white ones scored, right? Mm-hmm. When people got upset about that, he then followed it up with, people are getting upset, but it's not my fault black players can't take penalties, or something along those lines, right? Now, if you take those messages without the context, without any context, which is what Twitter is, right? There is no context on Twitter, right? You've put out a message. If you take those at face value, I don't think there's a human being on the planet who could argue that that is not a racist thing to say.
No, the moment
it just is.
when I saw that from Andrew Lawrence, I actually thought to myself, Andrew, you've let yourself down. Those comments are gross and they're racist.
Right. Having said that, there is some nuance to this, which we're going to get into. This is not to defend Andrew. I think he made a big mistake, and now he's paying for it in a way that is really bad, too bad in my opinion. But he made a big mistake. But here's the context, though, right? Before the tournament and during the tournament, a lot of people were going on about how without diversity, without immigration, the England team wouldn't be the same. And the whole thing was racialized endlessly, right? So this idea that we need to focus on people's race was implanted in some people's heads. And Andrew, as a comedian, I think, was trying to satirize that approach. He was trying to say, well, if we look at this through the prism of race using your way of thinking, this is what happens. The problem for Andrew is, in order for that to be funny, people have to understand the context, and they have to have a tremendous amount of goodwill for the comedian. They have to really trust you as a comedian. They really have to really trust that you're not being discriminatory or racist. And on Twitter, with no context, and Andrew's not someone who engenders a lot of goodwill from people, he was always going to get taken the way that it got taken, in my opinion.
Yeah, and that is the real issue, is that then that sparked a whole Twitter storm. Now, here's the thing. I feel that, as you know, if you're going to make a joke, you've got to expect, for there to be pushback and whatever else. Now, we don't know, was his account taken down by Twitter, or did he suspend it himself?
Well, maybe we should talk about what actually happened. So, as I understand it, he deleted his own Twitter account, or it got deleted for him.
Yeah.
His agent dropped him, and all his tour dates have been cancelled. So given that Andrew's been largely working through Twitter, creating clips that go viral and they're doing stuff on social media, let's be honest, his career's over.
Yeah, his career is absolutely over. And it's sad. It's sad because what he's looking at now is a career that no longer exists. He can no longer feed his family. He can no longer earn money through comedy. And another thing that was absolutely awful, I thought, is then people started going after his Facebook account and saying, why is it still up? Putting pressure on Facebook to take it down. Yeah. Even though the joke itself wasn't on Facebook.
So let's summarize it by saying, I think we both feel sorry for Andrew. He's not a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad guy. I also, by the way, don't think that he's racist. I don't. But what he said was very, very badly timed and very badly judged, in my opinion. That doesn't mean that he should never work again. But if you're his agent, what are you supposed to do? If you personally think that what he said is racist, which some people would do, what are you supposed to do?
But the problem is as well, is that if someone comes to you and says this joke is racist, there is no way that you can defend it.
Yeah.
There's no way to defend that joke. And as a result, you can't blame his agent for bailing when it's self-preservation.
But it's not just self-preservation. If it was self-preservation, I actually would disagree with it. What I'm saying to you, because I don't agree with like an agent going, oh, these other people have said something to me about one of my acts, so I'm going to drop him. I don't agree with that. You should make the decision based on your own morality. But what I'm saying to you is, what if Andrew's agent actually disliked what Andrew said? What if he thought it was racist? Which he may very well do.
Yeah.
Or what about the venues that have Andrew's show? If they thought that that's what Andrew said and that's what he meant, and they interpret it as racist, if there was a genuinely racist comedian, would we have him on our show? No.
Yeah.
Right? Would we be his agent? No. So you can sort of see why this has happened. Now, I'm not saying, as I said, I'm not saying that his career should be over or everyone should never speak to him again. But it was a very bad mistake.
It was a very bad mistake. But what is also very worrying about this is it just shows the ability for someone to make an ill-timed, ill-judged comment, and all of a sudden, everything that they've worked for disappears in an instant. And there were some comedians talking about this, actually. The comedian who put it up on his personal Facebook is actually a black comedian, and he said, and he qualified it by going, "I'm no fan of Andrew Lawrence, blah, 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 blah." But as comedians, we have to be very, very worried that we can make a joke and all of a sudden everything we've worked for literally disappears overnight. So the problem is with this particular case is that it's not clear-cut. It's not an easy case to discuss, because the reality is you look at those tweets, and if somebody goes to you, those are racist, you cannot defend it. You just can't.
Yeah. And this is why, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit angry. Angry? No, I feel sorry for Andrew. But I'm angry that all of us are now in this position, because every time one of us or one of the other comedians who thinks freedom of speech is very important and defends people who sometimes make off-color remarks and whatever as just part of the whatever. Now I'm going to have to go on fucking GMB at 7 in the morning and explain why saying black people are bad at penalties, saying that is okay. I don't think it is okay.
No.
I don't want people saying that. Now, the context of satire, I understand it, but you're not going to get that across in the tweet. You're just not. You're just not.
The thing that I find very, very difficult as well is that when I was watching the penalties, I was engrossed in the game. Absolutely engrossed. This was literally my thought. Kane's coming up. Brilliant. Great. He's going to nail it. Maguire, I'm like, shit, he's a central defender. He's going to skyrocket this. Smashed it, did a great penalty. Rashford came up and I went, great. He's brilliant for Man United. He's their pen taker. This is going to, oh shit, he's missed. Right? Then I can't remember when the Italian missed. Then Jadon Sancho came up and I looked at him and I went, he looks like a little boy. He looks like a kid.
Yeah.
He's
a kid. He's 19 years old.
Then he missed. Then Pickford came, did that amazing save from Jorginho, and Bukayo Saka came on. And I looked at him and I thought, he ain't going to get it. He's terrified.
Do you know, other than Jorginho, I predicted every single penalty miss in that shootout just by looking at how nervous they looked.
Yeah, right.
Including the Italian guy, number 9, whatever his name was.
Yeah. But
Lotto or something?
Yeah, fuck him. Right. But here's my point. At no point throughout that was I thinking about the player's race.
Why would you be?
Well, it didn't even come into my mind. All that I cared about was that, were they able to put the ball in the net? To me, their race was irrelevant. The thing that I find, why would you bring race into it? It seems to me somewhat bizarre to focus on in that heat of the moment.
Yep, I agree. And look, people are going to have different takes on this issue. My first thought when I saw it was this is going to end very badly. and it has, unfortunately, for Andrew. So I feel sorry for him. There were not good comments to make.
No.
And he's paid a price, which is a very heavy price. I don't know what else to say.
No, and you have to have, again, the comments, the jokes I didn't like. I didn't think they were appropriate to make. Now, if you do, that's fine. It's up to you. That's just my opinion. But then what happened? The desire, the thirst to destroy someone, to remove every part of their career, to have their Twitter, maybe he did, maybe he didn't, we don't know, to want to have their Twitter taken down, to then want to have their tour cancelled. I don't understand. If someone makes a racist, and let's put it however you want to interpret it, let's just say a racist joke, what kind of person then picks up the phone and then calls up a theatre in, like, I don't know, Weston-super-Mare to get a show cancelled?
But the thing is, I'm not sure that that's what's happened, though. This is my point, right? I am no supporter of mobs calling up the venues and being like, oh, did you know that Andrew Lawrence said something in 2012? I think it became so viral that those venues saw it themselves and were like, I don't want to be associated with this. And that's my point. Anyway, I think we've covered it thoroughly. I feel for Andrew. I also think he made a very big mistake. So it's a difficult one. Eric with the 345 says, my sincerest apologies. I said some things that were culturally tone deaf during the last Raw show in a super chat that didn't go through about the great European pastime known as football. We Yankees don't totally get how important it is to you all on the other side of the pond, and we really should. Either way, sorry you all didn't win. Keep up the good work. Eric, thank you very much. Mahala sends us another 250, says, I heard about this on Tim Pool about soccer camps shit stirring in Western culture. You don't need tanks, just nudge a fragile culture into self-destruction. Very good point. And Maximilian with the 5 says, to all the beautiful bigots out there, you must watch the Patrick Moore interview, which is the one we put out yesterday. The level of lies about climate change is beyond my wildest imagination. Thank you for that, Anton. Let's catch up on the super chats. I'm sure our discussion has provoked a lot of controversy.
James, seems many are using this latest racism to throw the whole of Britain under the bus. Dare I say, some are almost enjoying the moment. Well, this is a point that I made, that the vast majority of people were behind, the vast majority of people were behind this England team. Most people in this country are not racist. Most people realise that it doesn't matter about the colour of your skin or where you're from. Brown birds are the best. However, there's a tiny minority of idiots. That was meant to get a laugh. It didn't. Fuck
Sorry,
you all.
mate, I wasn't
Ungrateful. Ungrateful. But there's a tiny minority of idiots. That does not mean to say that society and a culture is rotten and white supremacist right the way through it.
Yep. I just think we should stop talking about it. There's a technological solution, which is to allow celebrities not to receive content from random people. And we should stop obsessing about this stuff. It's really not... And I don't understand when this switch happened where we went from these people don't represent us and we as a country are united behind the idea that they don't, to suddenly they represent all of us somehow.
Lithuanian bloke. Players who miss penalty shots are racist. Or Italian goalkeeper is racist. I mean, he's Italian. Or maybe football itself is racist and needs to be decolonised. Probably B. Italians can be racist.
Everyone can be racist.
I mean, but Italy does have a little bit of a history with it.
You're just being racist against Italian now. Shut your trap before we get cancelled. Audrius, thank you very much for the €5.
Kelly Francis. Larry Elder is running for California governor in the Gavin Newsom recall.
I'm sure he'll crush it. California is notoriously pro Larry's views.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I really wish he would win, but I don't think he's going to. Bloody Skies with the £2.
Go on, get Jim Davidson on.
No.
Good chat. Super sticker. Thanks, Imaginary Life. You're a diamond. Next. Mental Lentil. This is so easy. Just make the whole team Chinese. Problem solved. Also, only lemon chicken at half time. The most sensible thing you've ever said before, mate. Chinese footballers are shit. They've always been rubbish. However, lemon chicken is brilliant.
Correct.
Next. I'm sorry you lost the feetball game.
Thanks, Icky Ike.
Holby Camilton. The only funny guy on this show is the Englishman. That's not anti-immigration. It's just fact. Thanks, Holby. You're a good man, son. Love it.
Okay,
Good,
Colby.
good
I'll remember
man.
That. I'll remember that one.
June Hope. On a lighter note, Labour Redbridge Dido monkey.
Yeah, there's some. Oh,
What's that?
let's not get into it.
Okay.
Thanks, June Hope.
Next.
There's some guy. Anyway, I didn't pay attention because I'm just tired of the shit. Somnambulist with a $5. Thank you very much.
Lovely.
That's it for now. Fantastic. Well, Francis, let's look at some of the other stuff that we wanted to talk about. We've also, I think, got a couple of PayPals still coming.
So why don't you crack on with the PayPalios?
Yeah, Stuart with the 2 quid says, I wondered why Andrew had suddenly disappeared. His 2-minute videos cheered my lunchtimes up no end. We all make mistakes and say silly things from time to time. Difficult times. That's exactly the point. We all make mistakes, but also, here's another thing, right, Francis? Like, I am not a big fan of people apologizing for when they haven't done anything wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm also a massive fan of people apologizing when they have done something wrong.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I do and would do if I've done something wrong. That's what would you teach your kids to do?
Double down. Become the next Trump.
Okay, Donald. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
Right. So I think the way Andrew's handled this probably is partly the reason that he's been as attacked as he had been. If he'd come out and acknowledged that, he didn't have to say, like, I made a racist tweet. He could have said, look, I made a tweet which was attempting to satirize this, and this. I totally see how it didn't come across that way. Blah, 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 blah. That would have helped.
Yeah.
Doubling down didn't help.
No.
As well. So yes, everyone should have the chance at redemption, but part of the process of redemption is acknowledging when you do things that are wrong. And I think he made a mistake, as I said.
Yeah, completely. Next.
I think that's it. We've got another PayPal coming through shortly.
CJB Stevens. Tar for the Bants, lads. Here's a generous donation, $1.99.
Fantastic.
Lovely to see a Northerner back in the chat.
Exactly. The Northerners are back.
Okay. Henrik Odjebot Sivertsen, 55 Norwegian kroner. Are you more into birds than Patrick Moe, FF? He seems to be very familiar with the bird anatomy, etc.
Yeah, do your birds have gizzards, mate?
Yeah, of course they do. But only if they ask nicely.
Can an Englishman be a victim of racism? Of course he can. An Englishman could also be black and be a victim of racism. So it's pretty straightforward. I think a couple of them were over the last few days, mate. Hugh Simpson with a $5.
I'm pretty disgusted about football flouting COVID rules. Didn't football get the message? Stay home, stay safe.
Well, Hugh, you meant, and I'm sure you're being satirical there, but it's interesting that you mentioned this because, Anton, our number one story,
and that's what I was about to bring up, KK.
This is some top level staying at home and being safe. So just so you know, right, Anton, just hide this for a second. So Brazil is on the red list. And if you go to Brazil and then you come back to the UK, you have to do a test in Brazil, which is negative. Then you arrive here, you have to book yourself into a quarantine hotel for 10 days at the cost of £2,000. You then have to do a number of regular tests and you're essentially imprisoned for 10 days. That is what happens to you. Now let's find out.
Great birds.
Now let's find out what happened to Gianni Infantino, the FIFA president, who flew in from Brazil for the final of the European Championship.
So, FIFA president Gianni Infantino. Na 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 Brazil. Anyway, flies to London from Red List Brazil to watch Euro 2020 final at Wembley as part of a deal to let football VIPs visit without quarantine.
Oh, excellent. So he came in from a red list country and didn't quarantine at all. There he is. He was with Leo Messi there on the right. And then the next day he came into the UK and sat next to Tom Cruise and someone else.
But Tom Cruise can't get COVID because he's a Scientologist.
Yeah.
The president of FIFA is now flying from London to Brazil, which is on the international red list due to severe COVID conditions. Gianni Infantino had been in Rio de Janeiro watching Lionel Messi win his first major international title as Argentina beat Brazil in the Copa America final. Scroll down.
There's some studio equipment.
Mr. Infantino is now on his way to watch England play against Italia for the Euro 2020 final at Wembley.
So this is a story from a couple of days ago. But basically, Anton, we don't need to read anymore.
No, but this is important.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Brazil has the second highest COVID-19 death toll in the world, with only the United States reporting more fatalities. But it was revealed last month that football VIPs would be permitted to visit Britain without having to quarantine as part of a deal to keep the Euro 2020 finals. Visitors agreed not to let their leave their football bubbles as part of an agreement, allowing UEFA and FIFA officials, along with sponsors, politicians and broadcasters, to be exempt from self-isolation rules upon arriving in the UK.
So we can hide this now. So yeah, I came into the United Kingdom 9 days ago from a non-red list country, and I had to take 3 COVID tests so far. And
one up the arse, like a legend. He didn't. He just got that because he likes it.
I think you've got me confused with you.
No. No, I saw you, mate. When I because
did you?
Yeah. Because
how's your back, mate? How's your back doing?
It's pretty bad.
Yeah?
You just went
Stand
in.
up for us, mate.
No, you went in. Let me finish.
Basically, Francis' back is given out after his extracurricular activities with Poon Poon over the weekend.
Yeah. But anyway, you went in and they went to open wide, and you went, no, thank you, love. I want the Chinese one. Anyway, crack on.
That was worth it.
I think
so. How's your back, mate?
Absolutely destroyed. Not in a good shape.
Exactly.
But Anton's had this before, haven't you, Tony?
Anyway, so basically it's one rule for them, one rule for you. So for me, I've had 3 negative COVID tests in the last 9 days. I still have to quarantine until Thursday morning. Well, until midnight tomorrow, even though I don't have COVID, and it's been established by 3 separate COVID tests. So I'm basically sitting at home, not spreading a disease I don't have to people who've been double vaccinated against the disease. Does that make sense? No, but Gianni Infantino can come in from Brazil and go straight to the game.
Good lad.
Now, that is how you save Granny, ladies and gentlemen.
It is, by infecting her with a sexy version of the virus.
Exactly. Sabrina sent us £4. She says, MPs vote in favor of mandatory vaccines for all people working in adult care homes. Ayes 319, noes 264. Can we panic yet? Oh, I think the time for panicking came a long time ago, Sabrina, don't you?
Exactly. Next.
So there we go.
Nextio. Philip Bailey with a free nicker. Thanks, Phil.
Thank you very much.
Ogrods, watching reruns of Count Arthur on Netflix. The Count would make a great guest. Thank you.
Thanks, Ogrods.
The Bearded Doog. Agree with your comments, but only a fool cannot have predicted blame to follow credit. Diversity is our strength is a weird type of Kafka trap.
It is. So yeah, like I said, if you constantly bang on about how diversity is brilliant and how you have to focus on the race of the players, and some people are going to start focusing on it. But yeah, I think we've covered this issue as thoroughly as we're going
to. Don Jones, sorry England lost, and your elites are arseholes. Same here in US. FF, in the mood. If you're in the mood, gammon cam. Do you have pasta and a Chianti after the game? Right. Of course I don't have pasta and a Chianti after a game, because I'm not a mingy little slag. What I do, right, pint of brown ale, fucking pie. And I smash them both down, turn round, and if somebody looking at me weird, I go, I'm not gay, mate, and I headbutt them, because I'm not gay.
Okay. We have 9 minutes left of the show, unless we get to 800 likes. So we need another 350 likes in the next 9 minutes. We have 1,700 bigots watching, so that should be very doable if you decide to smash that like button like it's 1999. I have no idea why I said that.
Very glad your show exists. Rest of the media's gone nuts.
This is true.
Thanks, Dark Oaks. Pirate Tomsky, yes, we have just talked about it. Silky Carlo just tweeted about it. Look at you. Silky.
Some of you are following Silky after our interview.
Oh, why are you following Silky, Pirate?
For her beautiful opinions.
Exactly. You filthy little slag. You.
Pirate Tomsky.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I was just checking.
Yeah.
It's one of your Brazilian boys.
Well, so Marella. Thanks, FF.
Icky Ike.
The Patrick Moore interview was great. Thanks. Have you thought about getting Mark Linus on? Similarly, he started the anti-GMO movement, but then learned the science and found they are good for the environment and people.
We'll see who we get next to talk about this issue, but we'll be working on it. Guys, a lot of you have already smashed the like button. We do need another 150, though, so get smashing if you want the show to carry on.
Keep the spite. I hate this if I've offended culture. People need to be careful sitting there up there on the fence because they could get a nasty fall.
Yeah. Well, my point about the apology, Kick the Spike, isn't that Andrew should have said, if I have offended. I think he should have said, I've clearly offended a lot of people here by by what I said, which was a mistake. Look, everybody makes mistakes. I will make a mistake at some point. Now, obviously, I won't apologize because I'll just talk my way out of it.
Yeah.
Francis will double down.
Cool, so will.
Right? But I do, seriously though, I think people, when they make mistakes, they should acknowledge it. And I've said stuff to people on Twitter, for example, where I've taken it back and apologized, including Ash Sarkar, by the way.
Yeah.
Sometimes we all make mistakes, and it's better to live in a society where people acknowledge when they've made a mistake, where no one does ever. And so, yeah, look, again, we've covered this quite a lot.
Jimmy H, here's a non-satirical, non-sanctimonious, non-ironic, non-wokist fiver for a random outburst on the Gam Can. Always cheers me up. Right, let's do it. I've got a bad back, you mingy little slag, right? If you want a truly iconic bit of Gammon Cam, the type that will twist and bend your mind to remember it, and your dying moment, you're going to need a lot more than 5 whatever it is you just flung at me. But thank you for supporting the show.
Thanks, Jimmy. And let's get some love in the chat for the wonderful res to the mother-loving Pez who sent us 150 quid on the PayPal. And they clearly watched the Patrick Moore interview last night because they say, here's for the gizzard. Thanks for the Attenborough interview. Truly enjoyed it. Rez and Pez, you're absolute superstars. Let's get some birds in the chat for the rest of the mother-loving Pez. I was going to say let's get some gizzards in the chat, but there's probably not a gizzard emoticon, and if there is, it's a conspiracy.
Exactly. Next. Elsa Marella, we are not second on the COVID list. Have in mind our population is 214 million people. In deaths, millions, we're 10th.
Well, up your game then.
Exactly. Work harder, you lazy bunch of layabouts. Pirate Tomsky, follow her on Twitter as well as other places. Don't inform the fuzz. I don't like it, mate.
Thanks, Pirate Tomsky. Dino Lambra, it's Dino Lambretta.
Dino, it's Dino Lambretta. He is the king of the slags. Fiver for you, lads, just because.
Well done, Dino.
Well done, mate. Lovely.
That's it. Francis, we are 5 minutes away and we are 42 likes away with carrying on with the show. So 42 of you mingy little slag need to smash the like button. But
Amtam has already got the next story up.
Oh, is he? Oh, I was going to talk.
Look at all. He's on his game, isn't he?
Let's get some of that in the chat.
I think it's because something might have happened to him on Sunday.
Could have been. He got very upset.
Yeah, it could have been.
Oh.
Is that why you've
yeah. He had a good time, didn't he?
I noticed that you had a little pep in your step.
Yeah, he did. He had a little away game.
Yeah.
Away against Scotland.
He had a little pep in his step, a twinkle in his eye, and an itch in the crotch.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, let's talk about the BBC, very much along similar lines. Speaking of itching crotches, the BBC, Francis, you'd be surprised, is facing a major crisis and could vanish after a huge drop in license fees. So you should know, we'll talk about this, the BBC is hemorrhaging support and can soon reach a vanishing point. An entirely unbiased Tory MP has warned. But let's scroll down.
Let's see.
Is Meghan and Harry?
Meg's and Harry Megs.
Yep.
His comments come after the BBC published its annual report yesterday, showing 1 million households deserted it over the last 2 years. Figures revealed the corporation lost 300,000 license fee payers in 2019 and 700,000 in 2020.
BBC bosses blamed changing audience habits, well, as in they don't want to watch crap anymore, and restrictions on its ability to enforce payment for licenses due to the pandemic for last year's catastrophic figures. Yeah, there's some good excuses, but that's not really why it's happening. Tory MP Julian Knight told the Times the BBC is facing an existential crisis whose future was far from secure. The chairman of the Commons Media Select Committee said it is clear the BBC is hemorrhaging support amongst a significant proportion of the British public. The broadcaster, if this trend continues, could soon reach vanishing point where evasion is so widespread as to undermine faith in the TV license system itself. This is fast becoming a crisis for the BBC.
Right, so let's talk about it. All right.
Yeah.
To compound matters, the public broadcaster is also facing a revolt from over 250,000 oldies who have so far refused to pay the 159 quid fee after 3 licenses were scrapped for over 75s last year.
Well, have some compassion for these people. We've had a massive pandemic, right? All these grannies have been killed by people having the wrong opinion on Twitter about lockdown, right? They're fighting for their lives here.
The BBC has come under sustained attack from its opponents for its continuing reliance on the licence fee to fund its programme. Right, okay. So Rupert Lowe, Brexit MP, MEP.
Yeah,
No, it's fine.
We don't need
Anyway,
it. We can
but
talk
what a
about it.
surprise that he doesn't
Yeah.
like the beef.
So, Francis, not only have they lost 1 million people in the last year, but the rate
2
of,
years, mate.
2 years, right? But the rate of change is what you want to look at. 300,000 lost in 2019, 700,000 lost
More
last
than
year.
double, mate.
Yeah, it's not looking good for the BBC. And you've recently come across the fence, right?
Yeah.
You got off the fence.
I was in
You
our
got the
beef.
splinters out your ass.
I was in our beef.
We
Of course
talked
I
about
was.
this
It doesn't matter. They love listening to my stories. Shut up. Now, I was in our beef in bed. Of course I was with the missus, legend. You know, she was in bed next to me. Right. I was there. Top off.
She was turned away.
Oh
from
yeah,
you.
she was turned away. She gets like that when she gets aroused, mate. Now, I was top off, sunburnt in stripes. Right, red, white, sitting there.
Like the England flag.
No, I like the England flag, right?
You basically looked like an England flag that had been injected with fat.
Yeah, exactly. The best type of flag. Sitting there with my cup of tea, and I thought, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch the BBC. And I watched it, right? Because I'm in Spain, and that's what I'm going to do as an Englishman, because it's fucking England, right? And it was shit. It was one of the worst hours. It was so shit that it went right around the spectrum and sort of became vaguely entertaining for how shit it was. Newsnight was just completely biased. And then I watched that, Crouchy's Euro football bollocks. My Jarman's got a superb arse, but apart from that, it was bollocks.
There we go. So Francis is now fully hashtag defund the BBC. And
I don't know what they do, though.
They want to defund the BBC.
No, but I don't know what...
in the name.
I know they do, donut, but I don't know what the BBC do.
Oh, the BBC?
Yeah, what do they do?
They make shit programs.
No, but genuinely,
about
right?
things no one cares about.
Right, we're being, and it's very funny. But actually, what do they do? What is the point of the BBC?
Andy P says, so bad it's good. Welcome to TRIGGERnometry.
Of course. It's what it's about.
Look, the BBC produced some good stuff still, but it's not worth it.
No.
It's
Having
not.
said that, sorry?
Is bite-sized good, Francis?
Bite size? Yeah, bite size. I mean, I'm talking from about 5-10 years ago.
Yeah, that's the point. A lot of stuff that was good on the BBC 5-10 years ago. The problem is no one watches it.
No, that is true. It's just not fit for purpose any longer.
Yep. So there we go.
However, their coverage of the football, what did you think of it?
It was good. It was good, mostly good.
Yeah.
Are we done with the BBC?
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many things we could talk about. Oh, yes, Anton, let's talk about number 6. Because, Francis, we've addressed the issue of racism today. By the way, we've got enough likes to carry on with the show.
Good.
But
how many bigots have we got watching?
We've got 1,700 bigots watching.
Oh, lovely.
And we got 850 likes. But
Yeah.
did you know, Francis, the vaccine passports,
Back for good.
but also
What?
they're racist.
Amazing. UK government is encouraging businesses to use vaccine certification. Percentage of over 50s not vaccinated by ethnicity. White 6%, South Asian 15%, black 31%.
Oh. Now, Anton, there's the graph. You can see it there. Now, if you hide that, let's talk about this. So, Francis, you'll remember that the rules of our world are this. If there's any disparity between racial groups, why is that?
Racism.
Correct. That means the vaccine passports, which will disproportionately affect minority communities,
Yep.
are
Racist.
and therefore
I don't know. They should be banned.
should be banned. Correct. Vaccine passports are racist.
Yeah.
And should be banned. Spread the word. We cannot have these racist vaccine passports oppressing minority people around the country who cannot exercise their God-given rights. And the fact that it's racist is the worst thing about it. And that's what we do.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
hashtag cancel vaccine passports.
Cancel racist vaccine passports.
Cancel racist vaccine passports.
And if they've got a Twitter account, let's cancel them.
Yep,
And let's cancel their tour as well.
absolutely.
And let's not just cancel their Twitter. Let's cancel their Facebook.
Yeah, cancel them all. Make
Yeah.
sure that vaccine passports don't have an agent.
Yeah.
And definitely don't go on tour.
Yeah, exactly. Well done. I'm glad we agree on something.
Yeah, there we go. Vaccine passports, racist.
Matt P, good chat with PM. He's at Ledge. Look at Mark Steen, who's very interesting on the topic. Now do one, you slags.
Thanks, Matt P.
Talk Mardia, a quid. Nice one. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Biggles, 100 South African ZARs. This might have made the rounds, so might have heard of it before, but too good not to share. Did you know that despite the name, Fox News doesn't have any news about foxes? And the same for the BBC.
Very good.
Do you like my accent, Anton?
No, the joke is good though.
Okay, right, next.
That's it, Francis. What
That
would you
is-
like to talk about? We've got so many stories still to talk about.
Well,
still
let's
to
talk.
discuss. Yeah.
There's so much to talk about. Let's talk
Yeah.
about the big news story. And it came out yesterday. It's number 5, Amtam.
By the way, there was a few people who really liked your impression of Prince Philip there.
Good. That's what you're here for. A great man gone too soon.
So this is, speaking of the BBC, this is on the front page of the BBC. And look at that framing. A neutral public broadcaster is the BBC, which takes a neutral, unpolitical look at all the big stories. This is Nick Triggle, the BBC's health correspondent.
I do like the name Triggle.
Triggle, yeah. And Nick is giving you a completely unbiased and completely unslanted view of unlocking the country. Anton, just wanted to read out the headline, if you don't mind. If you scroll.
Yep.
Oh, you just want to, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Just whatever you want, really, mate.
Yeah, mate.
You just crack on.
You do you.
Yeah, you do you. But I did actually want to read the main headline just to emphasize the way this is covered. So if you scroll up, this is the neutral and unbiased way the BBC has decided to cover unlocking the country on the 19th. COVID, will 19th July unlocking gamble pay off or backfire, says independent, unbiased BBC health correspondent Nick Triggle.
Lovely. Let's go down. Right, the government in England has confirmed nearly all remaining COVID restrictions will end on the 19th of July. But with infection rates and hospital admissions already rising sharply, it is a significant gamble.
Notice how no mention of deaths whatsoever.
One expert likens what is being done to taking the control rods out of a nuclear reactor.
This is, again, neutral and unbiased BBC giving you a neutral and unbiased take on the news. Remember that.
This is going to make things worse than they are now, and we don't know when it will peak, says Loughborough University data analyst Dr. Duncan Robertson. And that, in many ways, goes to the heart of the issue.
Says unbiased and neutral BBC.
This is our first natural wave of COVID. All of the others have been brought to an end through lockdown and restrictions. The plan for this one is to exhaust itself, so predicting what will happen is much more difficult. After all, no other country in the world has attempted to do what England is doing in the face of rapidly rising infection rates driven by a more transmissible variant. But then, not many countries have such high levels of immunity from vaccination and natural infection.
Waiting longer could make things worse. The move has been given personal backing of Chief Medical Officer Professor Chris Whitty and a number of the scientists advising him. Infection rates were always going to rise at this stage of the roadmap. More mixing means it is easier for the virus to spread. And according to Professor Whitty, were we to wait any longer, there would be a risk of peak infections this summer being pushed to the autumn, which could make things worse with flu and other viruses circulating. But that does not mean government scientists do not have concerns. Behind the scenes, they have been questioning the policy on face masks, in particular after ministers made big play last week of the fact that mask wearing would no longer be legally required. Not because it will dramatically alter the course of rising infections, but because of the message it sent out that controlling infection no longer mattered. So you should wear masks even though they don't actually massively affect infections. You should wear a mask on your face because the message is what matters.
Exactly. The fact that you're ugly, you need to keep half your face covered up.
Exactly.
Ministers now stressing the need to keep wearing masks in a crowded indoor place. Lovely.
The message is what matters.
The reason is clear from the results of the latest modelling to be released. It looked at the impact of people returning almost immediately to normal behavior and compared it with a gradual resumption over months.
Yeah, and look, before we go any further into this modelling, we should say that the government's modelling has been absolutely spot on and accurate. When they said 500,000 people would die, that's exactly what happened. And all the other modelling predictions turned out to be entirely correct in every way. And that's what we should base our future decisions on.
Absolutely. So I think we've done enough on this. Let's have a little bit of a chat on it.
Yeah.
So Boris yesterday said It's going to be a return to personal responsibility.
Yeah.
He is emphasizing that people should exercise their own free will, their own free choice when it comes to COVID. He would advise you to wear a mask.
Yeah, would he?
Yeah. But if you don't want
Unless
to,
you're a fit bird.
yeah. In which case,
he'd definitely shag you.
Exactly. In which case, love, and particularly if you're a blonde, bend over and let's take it for the NHS.
Yeah, take the mask off. Take the,
Yeah.
Take the panties off. The full thing.
Exactly.
Go for it.
But anyway, so what do we think? July 19th, it now looks like it's going to happen.
Well, look, the neutral and unbiased BBC have said it's a gamble. So I'm really scared. Are you?
Well, look, here's the reality, and this is a point I made on GB News yesterday.
Oh, a little plug. Someone is a regular on the Michelle Dewberry show every week. Of
course I am.
Yeah.
Birds love it.
On Monday nights, 6 to 8.
6 to 8, the glamour slot. Now, this is a point that I made there. We have got to open at some point. We cannot carry on in this case of state-induced limbo. There has to be some point where we start thinking and acting and moving ahead with our lives. The reality is the virus is with us. It's here to stay. There's no controlling it. There's no suppressing it. It is what it is.
Well, why do you say there's no controlling or suppressing it? I mean, we have been sort of suppressing it, haven't we?
But suppressing infections.
Well, they have been largely suppressed. I mean, the whole argument is that because we've stayed at home and worn masks and whatever.
Yeah, but that's not a long-term solution. So the reality is...
Well, their argument is you need to vaccinate everybody.
Well, they vaccinated everyone.
No, they haven't.
Whom they're not vaccinated.
Lots of people haven't had the second jab, according to them. And then there's also, bigots like me and you.
Yeah. The vast majority of people who are elderly or vulnerable...
all of the elderly and vulnerable have been vaccinated.
Not all of them. The vast majority. There's probably one or two who decide they don't want it.
No, but the ones that wanted to is what I mean.
Yeah. So we need to reopen as a society. We need to get things moving again. We cannot continue like this. It is economically unsustainable. And it is disastrous for people's health, mental health and physical health. I think part of the reason Whitty's doing it is a realization that all our immune systems are screwed because we haven't been exposed to natural bugs and viruses.
Yes, and that's coming this winter.
Yeah. Enjoy the norovirus, guys. So there we go.
Anyway, you mentioned GB News there, Anton. Let's do some super chats and then we'll catch up on a little something that happened at GB News, very much related to the football that we talked about earlier.
Cool. Mr. Turnips, Sunday Observer had a story about the 35th anniversary of the film Alien, which tries to anthropomorphize the aliens, trying to make us sympathize with their bloody sociology ruins everything with them. I don't think...
You don't think what?
Which tries to anthropomorphize the aliens. Or maybe I didn't read the article. Sounds like the bollocks.
Yeah. I thank Mr. Turnips for the tenner. That is it. Well, Anton, we talked about taking the knee for a long time in this country, didn't we? Helpfully, on GB News today, there was one man who was prepared to make a stand.
And do you know what? He's a great man, and we need to watch this.
Politics is about gestures. It's not just about managing public services. It's about signaling what is on, what is not on, what is right, what you think is not right about a country.
I think for me that we are asking, should ministers in particular be sort of opining on what are very heated cultural issues? And I think for me, I would make a distinction between when an MP comes out and said something. We had, Lee Anderson, for example, last week saying he disagrees with taking the knee so much that he was going to actually boycott the England final. That's all well and good, sort of backbench MPs or whatever saying that. But ministers speak for the government. And when you
don't think a Home Secretary whose parents came from Uganda, whose grandparents are Indian, who's suffered racist abuse herself, is entitled to express a view on racism? I'm with
She is. It's not about expressing a view on racism, though, because expressing a view on racism and expressing a view on taking the knee are not one in the same. They're not synonymous, and that's where I think a lot of the conflation has happened. Which means that if you don't, agree with taking the knee, then people think you don't agree with anti-racism, and I would die on this hill that it's simply not the same thing. So many people are against racism, of course, but whether we like it or not, taking the knee has become divisive because it's been associated with Black Lives Matter, and that's.
I'll tell
That's
you where I am.
true.
I've never understood why people would find it offensive. I can see, and I tended to be one of these people who thought, do we really have to do this at every football match?
Yeah.
Can't we just enjoy, whatever sport we're into? But having seen over the last few days just how close to the surface, just how deep-rooted, just how hideously ugly racism among some English football fans is, I totally get it why this squad throughout thought we have to say day in, day out, every time we get on the field, that racism is not on. And I actually, with the benefit of hindsight, I may have underestimated how close to the surface the racism still was. I actually now get it. And so much so that I think, we should all take the knee. In fact, why not take the knee now and just say it's a gesture, but it's an important gesture. And, it's not about me in the studio, but for them to do that as footballers on the field makes sense because they're saying it's just not right. And racism has no place in football and no place in modern Britain. And those people who think that being English is okay with being anti-black people are completely misguided. And they need to know that there is no space for them in normal, acceptable society.
So there you go. What a brave man standing up for what matters live on GB News. And if there's anything that could better summarize the debate about taking the knee than a white man kneeling as a black woman looks at him in sort of bemused confusion, I'm not sure anything could summarize it better than that.
Absolutely. It's probably the exact same sort of image as when I propose.
When is that?
It won't be for a long time, mate.
Why not?
Why not? Because, sorry? Exactly.
Hey,
there was, you see, there's a reason why you are my favourite member of Trigonometry, Anton. I couldn't remember it. And then you come out and you say things like that. Well done to you. Anyway, God bless you.
It's a great look, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a brilliant look.
It is a brilliant look. I just love Mercy's face of complete bafflement and bewilderment.
Yeah.
It makes for wonderful TV.
Yeah, it was great. I'm sure Andrew Neil was delighted about it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I bet it got everyone talking when it happened.
Yeah, I imagine it did.
Yeah, good on him, whatever his name is.
Guto Harry, I think his name is.
Good, Guto. Good for you, Guto. Anyway, next. Lovely. Riding the Pines. Interesting that the lead news story on CBC Radio in Canada all day yesterday was about the racism with the England-Italy football game. Very important because what's happening in Canada isn't important.
No.
What's
Stay
really
home. Save lives. Black up.
Talk about racist tweets and messages that were sent to England footballers.
Do you reckon Justin Trudeau, do you reckon he blacked up just to be able to talk about it?
Yeah, probably, because you need to get in character, don't you?
Yeah, exactly.
And he's a former drama teacher, so he loves acting.
And also, it's quite possible that while he was blacked up, he did experience a lot of discrimination.
Yeah.
So he's got the lived experience.
He's got the lived experience. He knows what to say.
Yeah.
He'll probably have a little cry, not too much, because then his makeup starts running.
Yeah.
But yeah, but you know what? This is, and I think this is a very important point. I think Justin Trudeau blacking up more times than he can remember. Can we just remember that?
Yeah.
Is what happens when you appoint a drama teacher to be prime minister. Not good.
Spoken from experience.
Exactly.
Thanks, Riding the Pines, for the 10 Canadians.
FF, get some Windoline for your back. Thanks, Jason Clulo. What's Windoline?
I don't know.
Right, lovely. Dave Willems, what a day.
Davis.
Well, it's Dave, same thing. What a day. Even Navarra Media are quoting GB News. There we go. What did they say? I bet they were loving it.
Yeah, I'm sure they were loving it.
Yeah. Very good.
Ogrods with a 15 quid. This one's for you, Francis.
Francis, I feel your appearances on GB News are going to your head. Remember, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
What power? He sits on the sofa and gets insulted by Michelle Dewberry for 2 hours.
Obviously, Gammon Cam, response appropriate.
What power?
Listen.
He's got no power. What are you talking about?
Listen, mate, right? I'm all powerful. I'm the one in charge. Nobody round here. I'm still in charge. I'm number one here. I'm number one in GB News. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, you mingy little slag.
Were you quoting Poon Poon there when you were saying, I've got all the power. I'm the only one that matters?
Yeah, exactly. She was saying that whilst I was getting pegged.
Yeah.
Millie Smith with 5 Canadians. I think everybody should level up and get down on both knees. I'll see myself out.
Look, I've always been a big fan of kneeling from the fairer sex.
Yeah, absolutely. Great stuff.
Thanks, Millie.
It does wonders for you on a Sunday afternoon.
Does it?
Yeah, it does. Eases off pre-match nerves wonderfully, mate.
Okay, good to know. Anyway, Francis, there was also some other things we wanted to talk about.
Yeah. Let's do some good news. Anton, number 11.
Number 11, okay.
Let's do some good news. This is good news.
Is it?
Yeah,
Sure?
of course he is. Look, he's a good man. He's had a hard time, and he's getting a bit of dough.
Oh, what's this? David Cameron earned 29 grand a day as green cell lobbyist. Well, that seems all right.
What a lovely fella.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with this at all, mate.
Eleni Correa.
David Cameron was paid more than £1 million a year to lobby for the finance company Greensill Capital, according to reports. The former Prime Minister received a salary of about $725,000 for his part-time advisory role.
I'm going to stop you there. What were those words?
$720,000
for his what?
Part-time advisory role.
He got basically $250,000 nicker for a part-time gig.
$750,000.
Yeah, that's the one. Right. Anyway, carry on.
That's why I do the count here.
Yeah.
At the firm run by the Australian financier Lex Greensill before it collapsed into administration. This will have made him one of the company's highest earners, the Financial Times reported, with the head of its American division earning less than half than what Cameron did.
Well, he's very good, Cameron. He did a fucking sterling job when he was in Prime Minister.
Oh, absolutely.
Nailed it. Beginning to end. Top lad.
He got Brexit done, didn't he?
He got Brexit done. He shagged a pig. What more do you want? So the company found itself at the centre of Westminster's biggest lobbying scandal in a generation after Cameron's efforts to lobby on its behalf by texting Rishi, the Chancellor, and other senior government figures on dozens of occasions were revealed. The former Prime Minister tried to secure access for Greensill to government-backed emergency coronavirus laws. He was contracted to work 25 days. I'm so angry.
Easy, you're back. Take it easy. You've still got a lot of getting pegged to do.
I'm so angry. He worked 25 days a year. That's
a lot more than you do, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that is true. But I'm not on a $750,000 nicker.
And you never will be.
No, because I'm not. I'm so angry.
He earned 30 grand a day, but 29 grand a day. So there you go. Finally, politicians getting what they deserve. A good payday after they've left office. That's what you want.
Yeah.
That's great. Gareth Morris and his £2. He says, Gotcha can do what he likes. Gotcha is the guy who nailed. Says what he likes, including looking like a tit. Gareth, I don't understand why you don't like a man kneeling. I mean, you're all into the kneecapping up there, aren't you? There is no bomb and there are no knees.
Yeah, lovely. Next.
Don't know why you're upset, mate. Anyway, Francis, as we wrap up, let's talk about something else. And that something else is something, where is it? I can't find it now. What happened to it?
What are you looking for, mate? What's going on here?
What's going on here? Oh, right. So we've got a couple of, let's talk about South Korea.
South Korea. I don't know why I did that in South Africa.
Why did you do a South African accent?
I don't know.
So South Korea's COVID rules demand slower workout music in gyms. Still following the science, lads.
Exactly.
That's
there
a
we
gym
go.
in South Korea, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not reading the names. Daewon Kim, in the scroll up, Anton, and Dog. Come on, Dog Yoon Kim.
Mate, Anton, did you laugh?
Jesus Christ.
He laughed. You're getting cancelled, son.
A man from a country known for eating dogs is called Dog Yoon Kim. I mean, come on, this has got to be some kind of wind up. Anyway.
It also tastes very good.
What does?
Dog Yoon Kim.
Dog Yoon Kim.
Particularly with the egg fried rice.
To be honest,
mate.
It could be a woman. I don't know. Dog Yoon could be a woman. And they maybe they're married. Maybe they're a couple.
My back hurts so much.
Daewon Kim and Dog Yoon Kim. Maybe they're together, mate. Maybe they're like you and Poon Poon.
Yeah.
They're in a love-hate relationship where she breaks his back every now and again.
Maybe, yeah. Anyway, so my back hurts so much.
Plenty of gym goers rely on a good tune to get themselves through that workout. But in South Korea, the musical options have just reduced significantly under new COVID-19.
Oh, it's my fucking back. Oh,
I'm gonna keep making you laugh. This is good. I never see when we're doing Raw, we never get the audience feedback, and now every time you cry, that means I've done my job.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't. It was my joke about, but you can get served that.
To the standard restrictions such as social distancing and travel curbs, South Korea has added a requirement that gyms do not play music with higher than 120 beats per minute during group exercises such as aerobics and spinning. Health officials say the measure was intended to prevent breathing too fast or splashing sweat to other people while avoiding having to close such businesses entirely as they have during previous waves. The rule has invited ridicule from some opposition lawmakers who called it nonsense, and gym owners see the rules as barely effective or unrealistic to maintain. For Kang Hyun-koo, what do you reckon that is? Is that a starter or a main?
I think it's a dessert, mate.
Kang Hyun-koo, an owner of a gym in northern Seoul, lining up fast funny K-pop songs on his playlist was his morning routine. Playing bright tracks is to cheer up our members and the overall mood, but my biggest is whether playing classical music or BTS song has proven to have any impact on spreading the virus. Kang told Reuters, expecting that we're still following the science. But what a naive little man.
Well, there we go. So, my back is wrecked and we're getting cancelled. We're so getting cancelled after that. You can't do that. You absolutely can't do that. Anyway, we're going to get Lawrenced. So,
the odd bod says my wife is laughing herself crazy now.
Yeah.
As well, she should be, mate. We're risking our careers,
yeah,
making insensitive jokes about people's names.
Yeah.
So there we go.
Yeah. Anyway.
Look, I don't know what kind of dish that is, but it's probably very tasty.
Sure. Let's Anton. Let's get a great woman in the chat who will bring all our nations together. Let's get a bit of the first lady herself. It's Priti Patel.
Oh, yes, this is what I wanted to talk about. Look at that. So Priti Patel is no, Anton, scroll up. Priti Patel says, I'm disgusted that England players who have given so much for our country this summer have been subject to vile racist abuse on social media. He has no place in our country, and I back the police to hold those responsible accountable. And Alistair Campbell, the main advisor to Tony Blair at the time of the war in Iraq, a white man, has just replied to Priti Patel saying, take the knee. And if there's a good look to be found on the internet, it is a white war criminal telling an ethnic minority woman to get on her knees.
Make a hell of a porno, though, wouldn't it?
Well, it certainly would. And I was actually thinking, Francis, this is maybe something that you should take a little note from. You should go over to Poon Poons tonight, right, and go, look, love, you're on the left.
Yeah, look what Anton's doing.
All right, he's googling Priti Patel looking hot. Anton, you'll probably struggle to find her playing beach volleyball like you do with everyone else, mate. But anyway, what I was saying is, you could go over to Poon Poons tonight if your back was better.
Yeah,
we'll give you some painkillers. Yeah, send you over. Then you go over to, they go, love, you're left wing, aren't you? Yeah, and she'll be like, yeah, and then you go, well, I think you should take the knee.
Absolutely, yeah. Do it for diversity.
For diversity and progress.
Absolutely. Anton has
Get on
done
your knees
nothing
to fight racism.
Has done nothing but stare at Priti Patel's profile picture on Twitter. And I've got to say something to you, Anton, right? If you carry on doing this, I'm going to grass you up to your family in Liverpool and you're going to get banned from Liverpool, mate. You can't go around sexually objectifying a very problematic brown woman who is also Home Secretary of one of the most reviled governments in history. What do you reckon?
Makes it hotter, really, doesn't it?
I mean, there's something wrong with the boy, isn't there?
There is.
We don't know what it is.
Mate,
we haven't worked it out.
He has a sexual palate of a man who's been dropped on his head. That is what sums him up. Am I wrong?
No.
Exactly.
You are entirely correct.
Yeah.
But anyway, at least the government is going to get involved. That's good. Number 12, Anton, if you pull that up, this should really help with all the racism, and it will stop people having the wrong opinions and stuff. This will really help, and definitely won't have any side effects or negative consequences.
Tech chiefs called in to number 10 over racist posts to England players. Boris Johnson to demand that tech firms do more to tackle online abuse.
And I'm sure the only way this will work is they'll stop people saying the N-word, but they definitely won't crack down on anyone who has any wrong opinions about COVID or about climate change or about any of that. Because, that's definitely not going to happen. Remember that.
BJ has summoned tech companies, I got it on the brain now, summoned tech companies to Downing Street to order them to do more to tackle online abuse amid mounting criticism of the government after black England players were deluged with racist posts. in the aftermath of their Euro 2020 defeat. The England footballer Tyrone Mings has criticised the Home Secretary Priti Patel for her condemnation of the racist abuse faced by his teammates after she called players taking the knee gesture politics. He said Patel did not get to stoke the fire ahead of the tournament and then pretend to be disgusted when the very thing we're campaigning against happens.
Well, that's a really, I mean, to suggest that Priti Patel, so someone who's experienced racism, would pretend to care about people being racially abused seems to me like quite a stretch. Doesn't it to you?
Yeah.
But also, I'm not a fan of footballers having spats with the Home Secretary.
No.
And I'm not a fan of Home Secretaries having spats with footballers.
No. This is a problem with social media, is it brings out the worst in people.
Not in me, mate.
Not in you, mate. No, you absolute legend. And look, she has a legitimate political opinion. She doesn't like the use of the knee. Tyrone Mings supports it. Fair enough.
And he has a legitimate political opinion of his.
Yeah. So, but then what we have now is a tit for tat where you're essentially blaming the fact that he got racially abused on Priti Patel. What kind of idiot who actually sends these messages listens to what Priti Patel says? Most of them wouldn't even know who Priti Patel is. It's absolutely ridiculous. This idea,
unless they fancy her.
Yeah, in which case, top notch. But the reality is that most of these people are idiots. They don't know about who's in charge of the government, etc., etc. So the reality that this has been stoked by Patel, I'm not buying. I'm going to be honest with you.
But look, let's end the show because we're running out of time. Anton, do we have any super chats we need to do? No, good. We're running out of time.
No, not good, mate.
It's fine. People are very generous and are supporting us. We really appreciate it.
Give me money.
Get on Locals if you haven't, because that's really a cool place to be. But anyway, listen to what I'm saying.
No.
We're going to end the show on a unifying message, right? If you're a footballer, just carry on with playing football. Don't get involved in this political stuff. Yeah, look, if you want to take the knee, that's up to you. Other people will agree or disagree. That's fine. And if you're Priti Patel, don't get involved with all these footballers. Can you just please get on with taking away all our rights and making us fucking barcode our vaccine passports into our foreheads? Can you do that? Can you just focus on your job, which is to make sure that there's no civil liberties left in this country, which is really what the government has been focused on for the last year and a half. Please crack on with that. Please force us all to take vaccines. Focus on that. Why are you getting involved with footballers?
I completely agree. Pretty darling, don't worry your pretty little head about it. What you need to do is go around to someone's house and cave their head in because they've got the wrong opinions and they went on a demonstration somewhere. Text me, babes.
Fantastic. We're back tomorrow with our brilliant interview with Mary Harrington of Unheard. And then we'll see you again on Thursday for another Raw. Take care. And we'll see you soon.